So something happened when Trump came into office besides a bunch of people waking up. But I'm not talking about that so much. I mean, that's true. And again, I'm not somebody that followed a letter. A lot of us didn't follow a letter. We didn't know about it till later, actually. But something more than just waking people up. There was something early on in Trump's administration that there was a spiritual component taking place. And it was almost as if, God was waking certain people up, but something was going on and you knew it. And if you're one of those people, you know what I mean. And if you're a globalist, you'll want to move on from this because you won't understand it nor believe it. But this is why God talks about in the Bible that he will keep you people blind while the believers will see what's at work. Yeah, sometimes all your evidence is pointless. Glenn Beck did a show earlier today about what do we do? He was reading a part in the Declaration of Independence where it says, after a long line of abuses, the people have a right, they have a duty to throw off such government. Well, first of all, what BLM was designed to do was help drive division. That's why the unions, hospitals, education system push division. It's why Marjorie Taylor Greene screams, national divorce, because again, it's creating that division. And hoping that we all go to war with each other, because then what can happen is your thug UN peacekeepers will come in. That's what they've wanted. They've wanted the people to rise up and try to overthrow the government, and that would bring in the UN peacekeepers. Because that's who your unions and all your hospital CEOs and board members aligned with, was the United Traffickers, the criminal traffickers that have thug peacekeepers that rape women and children. Yeah, that's who they decide to get on board with. So he was saying that, you can't, the answer isn't to rise up in violence. It's just not. They're prepared for that. Like I said, they'll pull in the UN. So it's like, what do you do? Well, it's simple. You pray, because it's too big. It's too big. What's been going on for a long time, because that situation I talked about in my last couple videos with the boy and the chief nursing officer, that happened in 2012. So that's how long these people have been at their plan. They have one sole mission. They don't care who they trample on. They're reprobate in their thinking. They're reprobate in their mind. They're not good people. They're just not. Because it's diabolical what they did, not just to me and that kid and all, but the plan that they're going along with, because it's all to serve that global commie agenda. And they all, in Illinois Nurses Association, along with National Nurses United, aligned with United Criminal Traffickers that rape women and children. And that shouldn't be a surprise. It really shouldn't, because the chief nursing officer, as I said in my other videos, emotionally abused and bribed a 16-year-old kid that had no guardian, okay? And yet, she, still practicing today, because they're globalists, all of them. That's why they align with criminals, because they have criminal minds. So they don't care who they trample on. They have one set goal, and that's to help the globalists at the United Traffickers, United Nations, destroy the country. And they're doing a good job of it. So if you're a nurse, especially in Illinois more, if you're a nurse and you had a manager that used to be out on the floor and would help you when it gets busy, but doesn't do that anymore, hasn't been doing it for a while, but instead hides in her office and closes the door, totally different personality altogether, then you can bet your bottom dollar that she just is given in to that CEO and those board members that are aligned with those United Traffickers, whether she knows it or not, because your managers are not going to help you, especially if they're tied to a lot of other hospitals, especially university hospitals, like in Illinois. they are going to help the globalists, whether they realize it or not, because you'll keep saying, why isn't management doing this and that? They're not going to. I've said this before. I've seen this for years. They let violent employees stay, but they will get rid of an honest employee. And it's designed because they are trying to destroy the healthcare system. That's what it is. Oh, we can't handle anything. And the whole point to your managers doing that is then it'll aggravate and piss employees off, the nurses off, and then the hope is that you'll run to a union or somebody will just come along and, well, you should get a union going, because I really wonder if that's what happened with my very first manager and chief nursing officer at that first job before the bad chief nursing officer came in. Wonder if she was on board with that whole agenda. Don't know. Time will tell. But they want you to run to a union, or a union will just happen to be around someday and be like, this is what you should do. And the thing is that the United Traffickers, that's part of their 17 unsustainable development goals, is they want every citizen in a union locked down. They want to chain you to them. Because then once they have everybody, I've said this before, in a union, no matter what, every profession, then what those criminal people at the heads of those National Nurses United, Illinois Nurses Association, all those criminal lawyers working for them, what they'll do is kick their feet up and just take your money, and then they'll just take whatever they want from you while not doing anything, because once everybody's under a union, they don't have to do anything for you anymore. They'll just steal from your paycheck. They're a cartel. They're organized crime, and organized crime controls them. So the government uses the unions and your criminal-minded hospital CEOs and board members to do what the government can't do because of our Constitution. So what the kind of tyranny the government can't do to us, they have employed for many years now. The private organizations, most especially your unions, to do what they can't, cause tyranny on people. Which is why National Nurses United pushes stuff that's totally depraved. And many of these people that are at the top of these organizations, they many times they don't even know anything about your profession in many labor unions. Like, I wonder if the head of National Nurses United, if any of those women are really nurses. I do. Maybe they are. Or do they just play one on TV? So, they've been on this track for a long time. They're one-minded. They're narrow-minded. They're not good people because they're criminally minded. And so Glenn Beck was saying the only hope is God. And I've been saying that for a year now. And there's a simple reason for that. It's because it's too big. All the corporations, all the depraved CEOs and board members in education, healthcare, all of it, they all got on board with this. It's sick how many Americans are twisted and criminally insane. And pompous to think we're just going to take over your country. We just were disregarding your founders. How dare you, hospital CEOs? How dare you, head of Northwestern Medicine, that runs that place that I know is on like 7 different global boards? How dare you disrespect our founders of America and think you can do this? Any of you people. So what the government can't do because of the Constitution, they just get the private corporations, and most especially your number one is labor unions, to do it. So they want you, anybody who's not in a union, your hospital units are falling apart, and your managers are going to step back and say, I'm not doing anything, can't do anything, can't do. And you're going to get frustrated, and the hope is you'll get so frustrated you'll go running to a union, which will then lock you in. So the only help here is God. And for some reason, right when Trump came into office, a bunch of people that do walk with Spirit for a long time now, Spirit called to us. Not exactly called, but you get the idea what I'm saying here. And the globalists, they won't see that because they don't understand it, and God keeps them blinded from it. So they'll laugh it off. But that's the help that will come, and it will come, because there's so many just like me that know it. know it absolutely 100% that the wrath of God is coming for every single one of them.